This is the Ola dress, and today I'm going to show you how to make it. The Ola dress is an ode to the many roles of a woman, from caring for a home, a newborn, to dressing up and embracing femininity, to the daily duties like grocery shopping. The Ola dress can do it all, and it has a matching pattern for little girls too. You can find that pattern in its own video below. So today I'm going to show you one version of the Ola dress, and this is the most classic version, and there's many different links along with the pattern. You can find all of these details below. I'm sewing this dress from a linen that I found at Blackbird Fabrics. You can prepare your fabric by pre-washing, hanging to dry, and ironing it. First, you're going to assemble the pattern as the pattern calls for, and all the instructions are in the pattern. Lay out your fabric and fold along the side, being mindful of the selvage edge, which is the manufactured edge, and will line all of the pattern pieces up parallel to this edge. Lay the pattern pieces on top and cut out the fabric according to the directions on the pieces. Be aware of the cutting on the fold, any notches, number of pattern pieces, and the grain line. You'll also see a little dash on the sides of the bodice pieces, and you just want to use these as markings that you can make a little mark with chalk or a water-soluble pin. Now grab the front bodice piece while it is still folded. You'll notice on the pattern there is a marking on the folded edge. Make a crease to the top of the front bodice piece until you reach this little mark. Draw over this crease with a chalk or water-soluble pin. Unfold the front bodice piece and lay it right side facing up in front of you. Grab the front placket. Fold in half portrait style and draw a line down the center using a chalk or water-soluble pin on the wrong side of the placket. Match the lines together on the front bodice piece and the placket. Right sides together, pin this in place. Take your bodice piece to your sewing machine and sew 1/4 of an inch to the left of the line. Keep sewing along the line until you reach the end of the chalk line. Pivot 90 degrees to stitch 3 to 4 inches until you are 1/4 of an inch on the other side of this line. Pivot again and finish sewing parallel to the chalk line. Grab your scissors and carefully cut down the chalk line until you reach right before the stitches. Now fold the placket towards the wrong side of the bodice and press with an iron. Understitch down the vertical sides on both sides. Fully fold the placket to the wrong side and press until it is lying flat. Fold the sides of the placket under 1/2 an inch and press. Fold the bottom of the placket to a point as seen here and press in place. Top stitch at 1/2 inch seam allowance around the placket. Now grab your sleeves. Right sides facing, pin the armhole curves to the front bodice piece. Repeat this for the other sleeve and sew at 1/2 inch seam allowance. Right sides together, pin the sleeve curves to the back bodice piece. Sew at 1/2 inch seam allowance. You'll have a large rectangle piece that is all connected through the sleeves. Starting at the V-neck placket that you previously sewed, sew 2 gather stitch rows, moving your stitch length to the highest your machine will allow. Leave extra threads to create leverage to pull the gathers together. If you need an in-depth tutorial on gathering, you can find that video linked here. Holding the threads in one hand and the fabric in the other, gently gather the entire dress together. Go slow over the seams. You don't want the threads to break. Gathered as much as it will go, trim off the excess threads. Put the dress aside for right now, and now take your ties and fold the ends inward 1/4 inch. Press in place and fold it in thirds to create the tie, and press again. Sew right along the edge to finish the ties. Now grab the neckband and interfacing if you choose to use it. Iron them together. Leaving 1/2 inch on the edge, start at the V-neck and pin one end of the neckband right sides together. Take the other end and pin to the other side of the V-neck opening, making sure to leave the 1/2 inch on the edge. Pulling the gathers, pin the neckband to the gathered neckline. This will take some time to evenly distribute the gathers to the neckband. Once everything looks good, move the stitch length back to its original position and sew at 1/2 inch seam allowance. Make sure to straighten out the gathers as you sew. iron the neckband flat, folding 1/2 inch on the end inward and press. Fold the neckband 1/4 inch and press with an iron all the way around the neckband. Attach the ties to the edge and between the neckband and the gathers of the neckband. Stitch in place. Fold 1/4 inch once more over the gather stitches and press. This should hide the gathers, and if it isn't hiding the gather stitches, trim the gathers 1/8 to 1/4 inch until the neckband lays flat and covers the gathers. For the next step, you can either sew the neckband right along the edge, enclosing the gather stitches, or you can hand sew this step, which will create a cleaner finish if you aren't comfortable with using the machine to stitch the neckband. Now that your neckband is finished, find where the marking is for the top of the pocket. This is marked along the edge of the bodice pieces. Right sides together, pin the pockets to the edge of the front bodice on both sides and the back bodice on both sides. Stitch the straight edge at 1/4 inch and repeat for all 4 pockets. Press the pocket away from the dress and stitch at 1/4 inch. Repeat for all 4 pockets. Finish the seam with a serger or zigzag shears. Turn the dress right sides facing together, lining up the sleeves, armpit, and side seams. Pin and go around the pocket bag along the side seam. Repeat for both sides. Sew at 1/4 inch seam allowance starting at the sleeve. Finish the edges with a serger or zigzag shears. Press all the seams with an iron to keep a crisp look. Now gather the sleeve openings following the same gathering instructions above. Take the cuffs and fold in half landscape and sew the short sides together at 1/2 inch seam allowance. Press to one side and repeat for the other cuff. Right sides together, attach the cuff to the gathered sleeve, pin in place, matching the seams. Sew at 1/2 inch seam allowance. Fold the edge of the cuff 1/4 inch and press. Fold once more to cover the gathers and hand stitch or Fold once more to cover the gathers and hand stitch or machine stitch the cuff to the sleeve. Press with an iron to finish. Now fold the hem of the dress 1/4 inch and press all the way around. Fold once more at 1 inch or 1.5 inch if you want it to be shorter, and press and sew the hem along the edge at 3/4 inch. Now the Ola dress is complete. Be sure to check your pattern to see all the variations of the Ola dress. You can make a top, a mini dress, midi length, or take it all the way to the floor. There are so many variations. You can find the button-down instructions on your pattern, and we're always updating our channel with new ways to sew our patterns. And if you want to see the Ola dress for girls, you can click this next video.